Hey guys, every week we put in a lot of hard work to bring you a spine-chilling animated horror story. So if you're enjoying the stories on our Kuni Monday channel, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notifications for our latest videos. This story is based on a true event sent to us by one of our subscribers, Vinny, who used to work at the same call center where this terrifying incident happened. Me and Samar worked at a call center in Udieg Vihar, Gergoyan, called Saffron BPO. It was a night shift job, and the white light from the computer screens and the sound from the headsets kept echoing throughout that big hall all night. At night, the office felt like a whole different world. Outside, the entire industrial area was almost empty, and inside, only tired agents sat in their cubicles taking calls. Right next to our cubicle was another one, where a really beautiful girl worked. Her name, Rose, always showed up on the system. Rose was always on time. She'd quietly put her bag on the chair, log into the system, put on her headset, and get to work. Rosh was pretty friendly with Summer, so sometimes he'd just say hi to her. Every day, she'd give a little smile and then look back at her screen. She got along fine with everyone. She was the star performer at the office, and everyone liked her. But one night, around 12:30, Rosh got a call. She put on her headset and kept talking slowly for a long time. She was on that call for hours. Me and the whole team found it really strange, because our calls usually never lasted more than 10 to 15 minutes. For Rosh's safety, our team leader. We tapped his call, and when we listened in, we were all shocked because there was no one on the other end. As soon as they started tapping his calls, Rose hung up and gave us a really weird, super angry look. When the team leader asked him what was wrong all of a sudden, Rose just grabbed his bag without saying a word and left the office. After that day, he completely stopped coming to work. At first, no one paid much attention, but then 3 days passed, and we couldn't reach him at all. Our team leader tried contacting him at his address. The info Roz gave in her joining form, and then what she told us later gave us chills. Actually, the people living at Rozzy's address said she had died years ago. We even talked to her parents, and they confirmed their daughter passed away about 8 years back. When we found this out, there was this eerie silence in the office that night. Summer and I just kept looking at each other. We had seen Roz every day. She used to sit right next to us and work. Her system would log in every day. Her chair was still there. There used to be a bag too. If she had died years ago, then who was working with us? After that day, the office vibe started to change, and then weird stuff began happening there. One time, near the office pantry, we heard footsteps, like someone was slowly walking on the floor. The guard checked the entire corridor that night, but no one was there. That same night, an agent ran out of the restroom looking pale as a ghost. She said that while she was washing her hands, she heard footsteps behind her. When she looked in the mirror, right behind her was a girl was standing there, wearing a white shirt, her hair done, and her face looked just like any normal day. But her eyes were blood red. Then, when the agent looked back, the washroom was completely empty. After that, people started avoiding going to the washroom alone at night. Then, another incident happened. One night, the pantry's motion sensor light suddenly turned on. But how was that possible? Because the pantry was totally empty at the time. When they checked the CCTV, it showed a shadow by the water dispenser in the empty pantry, which suddenly changed into the silhouette of a person like a girl was standing there. Stories like these. Things were getting worse. One late night, I was sitting in the office working. Suddenly, the computer in the cubicle opposite me turned on by itself. The login page appeared on the screen, but after a few seconds, the agent ID automatically logged in. The name displayed was Rose. It was the same computer Rose used to sit at. Seeing this, I felt really shaken. The screen stayed like that for a few seconds. Then the system locked itself out. The next day, I told Summer about it, but Summer didn't believe any of it. Or rather, you could say she was completely skeptical about all this. I didn't want to do Italiano. But then that night came. The night that made Samar realize that these things are on the justifications. They really exist. I was on leave that night. Samar was working the night shift. It was around 3 a.m., and the shift was just about to end when Samar suddenly got a call. The moment he answered, he was shocked. "Hello, Rose, this side? How can I help you?" It was Rose's voice on the other end. Samar suddenly panicked and immediately hung up. Right then, the call center lights started flickering and then went off on their own. Everyone thought it was just a power failure, so everyone went downstairs for a break. But Samar was nervous. He sat at his desk, still thinking about that call. Then, in the faint light coming through the office window, Samar saw the chair opposite him slowly spinning on its own. It was the same chair she used to sit on every day. Seeing this, Samar got really scared. To calm himself down, he went to the pantry to get some water. But what happened there shook him to his core. As he was filling his glass at the water cooler, suddenly he felt like there was a girl standing right behind him. "Hi, Samar. You've totally forgotten me," the girl said. In the darkness, Samar, when he looked back, he saw 2 glowing red eyes and messy hair. That face looked so familiar, like he'd seen it every day. Just then, the office lights came back on, and Samar saw that there was no one there. He had no idea what was going on. He grabbed his bag and started heading down to go home. He pressed G for ground floor in the elevator. He was alone in the elevator and totally freaked out. As soon as the elevator reached the ground floor and the doors opened, Samar's hair stood on end. It felt like the elevator had opened into a graveyard. There were a lot of people there, but they all looked like lifeless zombies. As the dead people started staring at Samar one by one, there was one among them named Ross. Samar was completely freaked out. He didn't know what he was in one corner. Someone was sitting and shaking uncontrollably. When Samar opened his eyes, he saw everything was completely normal. He was on the ground floor of the building, and there was no dead body anywhere. No graveyard either. But a scared Samar immediately went home. As soon as he got home, he called me and told me the whole story. The next day, both of us quit that job and never went back to that call center. A few weeks later, I found out from my PG owner that the BPO was actually built on the site of an old graveyard, which had been demolished to make way for the office. Maybe the graveyard still. There was a wandering spirit, or Sote Said. When Samar heard this, he had to listen. Today, that call center has been shut down for good, but the story doesn't end there. After that incident, Samar and I swore never to go near that building again. A few months later, Samar got a job at a new company. Everything was going smoothly. Samar and I had almost forgotten about that call center and everything that happened. But then, one night around 12:45 a.m., Samar got a call from an unknown number. At first, he ignored it, but a few seconds later, the same call came again. This time, he picked up the call. Quietly, he said, "Hello." There was complete silence for a few moments. Then suddenly, a faint static sound came through the headset, and a very familiar voice said, "Hello, Ross this side. How can I help you?" Hearing this, Samar almost dropped the phone, because the number calling wasn't anyone else's. It was the landline of the closed Saffron BPO call center. And the scariest part is, since that night, every night at 10:45 p.m., Samar's phone rings, and the call always comes from that shut down BPO. If you liked this video, make sure to subscribe to our channel, Kuni Monday. Don't forget,